boys in our clubhouse getting high. Super fuckers! Everybody wishes we would die. Super fuckers! Here we come like a bomb. Everybody fucking run and hide.
Hey, it's the Rebel Taxi Pizza Party podcast, and I'm Pan Pizza. Who are you, Nolan?
Well, I mean, spoiled it, but I'm Nolan, back from my computer hiatus. That was fun.
Yeah, he's back, and everyone else left for some reason. Whoops.
Yeah, it was sort of like if I came back, I had to kill everyone else. And, you know, everybody's a big fan of Nolan, so here I am. What's up? Here, everybody.
It's Nolan's back, and we have a guest. Who is this guest?
Oh, this is Kermit the Frog here.
You frog?
Kermit?
Yes, I'm here to report on... Well, I dropped the paper saying what I was supposed to report on. Oh, I'll just leave. Yay!
Okay.
Bye.
Bye, Kermit.
Bye.
Oh, hi. Did you guys just see Kermit the Frog nearby?
Oh,
I thought that was him. It kind of looked like him, but
yeah.
I feel like if it was really him, then then somebody would have said something.
Yeah.
No, it probably wasn't him. It's fine. Who are you, good sir?
My name is Nicholas Wallstrom, and you invited me on this podcast, so it'd be nice if you recognized me.
That sounds familiar. Where would I, some person who's been on YouTube since like 2006, would recognize you, Nicholas Wallstrom?
Oh, well, I was probably best known as Walrus Guy, creator of certain YouTube poops that you may have heard of, such as Luigi farts in Mario's face for 30 seconds while I play unfitting music.
Classic.
And Link gets cancer.
Oh.
But it's okay, his cancer
Beautiful.
gets cured by the end. So,
Oh, thank God.
Whoop, whoop.
Hello there! I am Dr. Rabbit, the world's only rabbit Nazi. This is my genitalia.
Hey, I got a question. Do you make YouTube poops about the Colgate toothpaste mascot, Mr. Rabbit? Was it true that you got like cease and desist or what?
oh yeah, my account was taken down due to copyright strikes. And so this was actually the first time in the history of YouTube poop, I think, that, stuff had been taken down in the past, but I decided, you know what, I think these are fair use. I'm going to contest this. And so I did, and the videos got back up, and they never bothered anyone again. People thought that I was taken to court after I brought this up. And so, I just sort of went along with it. Like I said, yeah, they took me to court and they had to watch my YouTube poops in court. And because I just, that was sort of a fantasy for me, like the idea of a jury having to, like these random adults who are called to jury duty have to watch this Dr. Rabbit YouTube poop and decide on whether it was illegal or not.
Damn. So it was all a fraud.
I want to believe.
This was all a lie.
This is like fucking when you like hear like an urban legend and then you just find out that it's like the most mundane shit on the planet.
Yeah, just a simple copyright strike. It didn't matter.
Yeah, like
It was big back then because nobody had done that for YouTube poop at the time.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, hey, we can actually not have our accounts deleted and have to start over whenever somebody sees the stuff that we made.
Nah, my old account got deleted for making a YouTube poop on The Simpsons thanks to 20th Century Fox.
Well, see, you could contest it if you think it's fair use enough.
Yeah, maybe, I think this was back in like 2007, so maybe it'll still be valid. Like maybe I can go back to YouTube and say, hey, can you check on that video that got deleted? I think it's under fair use.
and then they just like go through their like Rolodex and are like, fuck, which channel is that?
You may remember that in 2009, my account was cracked and all the videos were deleted. And stuff from like so they were uploaded on other fan accounts, so the stuff from back then. But back before then, YouTube didn't even have a to contest stuff. So like that Beowulf YTPMV I made, they removed it for inappropriate content because it had Angelina Jolie and it was only 240p back then, and so it may have looked like she was naked. Of course, they had the actual Beowulf trailer that I edited it from on YouTube at the time. But now since it was deleted, I never have the chance to contest that. So I've always been sort of bitter about that.
Damn.
Yeah, YouTube and their double standards.
Another reason to hate Image Movers movies.
They also seem to have a lot stronger standards for what people are able to monetize. Like, they have a rule, thanks to all those Spider-Man Elsa videos, you can't use children's characters in adult situations and monetize that. But, you look at all these Adult Swim Robot Chicken videos and stuff up there, they still get to monetize it.
I mean, I guess because it's like they own the legal rights, or I don't know how that works. Never mind.
It's still fair use when Robot Chicken does it, it's just...
Yeah, that is true. What the fuck?
I think the difference is that it's from a network, so they have more clout to be like, hey, this is
exactly.
They haven't
like
been sued.
Yeah, but if it's a little guy, it's like, oh well, whatever.
Do you guys remember the internet site YTMD, which got shut down recently?
Oh, of course.
Oh yeah, because I remember a long time ago, like 2006 or so, they were making not just parodies of the Sonic Says segment, the one where he says, "Kids, don't get touched by adults" or whatever.
And that's exactly, those were Sonic's exact words, and that was the whole thing.
Pretty much, yeah. And Sega was like, "Hey, you got to take this down. This is wrong." And it's like, this is a totally different Sega from a different time, because nowadays they just fully embraced all these dumb memes. But back then they were like, no, this is wrong. This is against our policy.
It reached such a critical mass where they felt like, okay, we can't compete with what people are doing with Sonic. That's his image now. We just kind of have to roll with it.
Yeah, but not getting touched. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a hot mess for Sonic right now. Just complete fucking disaster. I never got a chance to talk about the Sonic movie on this podcast. I mean, I don't plan on it, but I just wanted to say, yeah, no, it's a mess. Kill me. I hate being a fan.
I can't wait. It's going to be awesome.
The Transformers will return after these messages.
But first, this podcast is supported by Patreon donators of $100. First is Alfredo, who wants to show off their comic Bongo and Luna, links below. It's a slice-of-life story of a serious big-titty clown girl, Bongo, and her best friend, a lusty ghost, Luna. Bongo and Luna updates every Tuesdays and Thursdays. It has cute monster girls. Please, read it. Our other donator is Covey, who wants to promote their animated web cartoon, BloodThing. It's about a blob of blood desperately trying to make friends in a world full of assholes. It's crazy how resourceful they're pulling this off with so little at their disposal, yet it works really well. Check out BloodThing and Bongo and Luna, links below.
We now return to the Transformers.
I think the interesting thing about the design change is that in maybe 10, 15 years, people will see the version that comes out in theaters, and it'll be this weird arcane fact that look what it almost looked like.
Yeah, however they're going to redesign them. Supposedly redesign, unless they had the design the whole time, and this was all just a viral marketing stunt.
I don't think they're that smart.
It's not even a smart viral marketing stunt. It's like,
I mean, it worked.
It certainly got attention.
It got attention, but not good attention.
Well, I mean, when they change it to a regular Sonic, it's gonna get everyone's gonna be like, "Whoa, it's classic Sonic."
Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know how they're gonna do it in 6 months. I remember seeing an article where the guy who did Paddington, a visual effects artist on Paddington, was like, it took us 6 to 9 months to just finalize the design for Paddington before we even did anything with the animation.
Mm-hmm.
They're just going to use a Dreamcast model.
Oh, please.
Do it. That'd be funny.
Oh, yeah, this is happening.
The same rig, the same, really crappy clipping model. The same.
And he's going to talk over the other characters, just like in Sonic Adventure.
Oh, yeah, and the music will always be blaring out on top of everyone's audio.
I want some, and basically, it looks like I'm going to have to save your planet. I wasn't done talking. Yeah! This is epic.
Oh.
God. You ever wait for something for almost 2 decades, and then it comes out, and it's going to be fucking crap? Depressing.
That's how it always is. I enjoy the Super Mario Brothers movie for how weird it is. kind of hoping the Sonic movie will be the same way. The only especially weird thing about it was his design, though.
Mm-hmm. Otherwise, it's just like, oh no, it's
Jim Carrey should at least be in a fat suit.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
agreed.
please.
It shouldn't have been Jim Carrey at all, but like at this point, I have to like start bargaining with myself.
In the ending of the trailer, the first trailer, Jim Carrey's just in the full Robotnik gear, and I swear, I bet that's just gonna be some freaking after credit scene.
No, it is. There was a
Yeah.
Reddit leak a while back, which basically spoiled the whole damn movie. And
Oh.
they confirmed that that scene is he's on Sonic's world, which is
I
why
see.
Mushroom Hill's in the background, and it's like at the very end of the movie or a post-credit stinger. I forget which one it was.
And Knuckles is a Blu-ray exclusive. Like, you get the exclusive movie, Sonic the movie, and Knuckles, and it edits him in.
No, you got
Yeah.
an add-on feature. It's like the Genesis one. You have an add-on where you put the disc on top of another disc, and then Knuckles replaces Sonic in the movie.
Wow.
Yeah, that's.
Sega has and always will be ahead of their time.
I will see the movie as long as Jim Carrey says snooping as usual. That's all I want.
I don't know if they will, but it's a possibility. So far, it looks like the fan service is just, hey, look at this thing from the first game. Isn't it fucking cool? Also, I know for a fact that Sonic's going to
Gary
floss.
Chalk is in the movie, I think.
Who?
One of the actors in the trailer seems to be Gary Chalk, the voice of Grounder.
Ooh,
I honestly think that's just a coincidence.
Like they just didn't even notice.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a happy accident. Like I'm like 100% certain.
he needed.
You know what I
work.
really hope is for Long John Baldry to have a part in Rocket Man, because he was a friend of Elton John, and Elton John got his name from Long John Baldry.
Didn't Lon John Baldry die, or is that somebody else?
an actor playing Long John Baldry.
Oh,
He's an
okay.
important part of Elton John's life, and I think he should be in Rocket Man. He should say snooping as usual.
I think they should make a Freddie Mercury movie with a director that's a child molester. I
What?
think that's a good idea. Have you not? Do you not know this, Pan? Because
What?
I'm just making references to a fucking rocket. What was it? Bohemian Rhapsody. It was directed by Bryan Singer, who's a child molester, but like he hasn't been caught yet for some reason.
Yeah, he's out there on the run.
Here I am in your ass. Here you are in mine.
Oh.
I don't know what that's a reference to, but I don't like it.
It's the theme song of Zack and Cody.
I don't remember the fucking theme song to Zack and Cody.
It's the sweet life.
Yeah, what do you do now that you have retired from making YouTube poops?
I've never officially retired. It's just I haven't really had time yet. And I am a professional animator, fortunately. So, like, it may not be the most tactful thing to use, copyright material anymore, even if I do consider it fair use and I've never made money off it. But, my first ever salaried job was at Stupid Buddy Studios, working on Hot Streets, and I thought that was interesting because I used audio from their flagship show Robot Chicken in my first YouTube poop.
So do you do stop motion or like hand drawn or CG?
Oh, Hot Streets is a hand-drawn show. I can do stop motion too. I just haven't been hired for it yet.
I see you also did the Rick and Morty Bush World Adventures thing at Studio Yada.
Oh yeah, I did both of the Rick and Morty. I mean, small parts on it. Like I just did those two shots that shut the fuck up, Morty, shut the fuck up. I specifically requested that one and was happy that I got it. And the Morty, you saved me your life. The thing that Rick does there with his mouth was something that I did with a shot of Chubby Webbers in an episode of Hot Streets that Brian and pretty much everybody liked, but it didn't end up making it into the episode. So I was like, oh, I'll reuse this for Rick, and it worked, and I was happy with that.
That's gotta suck. Like when you have something, you're like, man, this is gonna be funny once in the episode, and then your director's like, nope.
Oh.
There was, I got. Let's see. I wonder how much I should say because everybody at Stupid Buddy was extremely nice to me, probably nicer than I deserved. I came in, about like the Sakuga system in Japan, about there'll be an anime and it's often really still, and then suddenly someone like Yo-Yo Shinari will come in and have one or two shots and it'll look amazing there. And I felt like, if I could do that, if I could just have one or two really amazing looking shots in there in the middle of an episode, I wanted to do this. I want to save animation type thing. And, of course that's, on a show production, they want you to do as many shots as possible, as fast as possible. And so I got some talkings too about, hey, what are you doing? Let's work faster instead of putting so much work into individual shots. And I understand that, and I really shouldn't have to have been told that as many times as I was. Like, I got called in multiple times. There were times when I was surprised to get called in because I didn't feel like I had worked that. Like, sometimes stuff that's really fast and off model seems like you put a lot of work into it because, like when I'm drawing off model, I don't have to draw as fast because I'm just sort of doing my own thing rather than having to work by standards. But it's
you're just going by feel.
Yeah, but it can look like I put more work into it because it looks more dynamic, that sort of thing. So, so one time when I got called in and asked, how long did it take you to do this? And I thought, like a few minutes. But, this was my first job ever. And so there was a lot of learning about what people want and how to interact with people. And I'm also, I have Asperger's. I'm on the autism spectrum. So there was a lot of learning how to interact with people in general. So, there were times when I found out afterwards, like people were like, what is he doing? People don't do that. There was times, certainly it was definitely a learning experience for me, how to interact with people in general. I've never in my life really sought out friends, but once I was there, then, oh my God, I'm finally around people who are as into animation as I am. The first conversation I ever had with another animator on Hot Streets was about Jim Tyer's work on the Herman and Catnip short Cheeseburglars. Jim Tyer's one of my favorite people working with really loose, limited animation, and it was so heartening to the first person who I talked to also had that same appreciation for him.
You're just like echoing all the sentiments I've felt like my entire life.
Yeah, like I assume in high school, none of you guys ever had anyone who knew about animation or the same stuff you were into.
Hardly. And even when they did, it was usually like the normie shit. And I hate saying normie shit, but like it's just kind of how it was. Like most of the people who were into cartoons at my high school were just into My Little Pony because that's when it was the big thing.
Oh no, yeah.
It's nice for me that I was out of high school by then, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hola, Dr. Rabbit! Welcome to Europe.
Hola, Carmen. Good to see you again, my friend. Let me have your chips.
What?
I am going to stick those chips in my butt. Why don't you have a look at my sensor?
I'd love to.
This is my genitalia.
No hate to My Little Pony. I want to emphasize that. One thing now, there are certainly things in YouTube poops that I've made that that come off as pretty crass because it's to take audio clips and make characters say horrible and do horrible things. There are some jokes that I wouldn't put in there now as I've come to understand things better. But and I'm happy to say that nobody's complained about them. I feel like people, maybe when they watch YouTube poops, they know what they're getting into. But the one joke that I ever remember getting criticism of was in Genesis of Dr. Rabbit when he says, "Oh dear, this is awful. You have Asperger's." And various people commented saying that, hey, I have Asperger's and I was offended by this. But I feel like that's the one joke that I feel pretty okay about because, one, I have Asperger's, and two, Dr. Rabbit is not meant to, in that situation, like, you're not supposed to agree with him. He's saying and doing all these ridiculous, horrible things.
Yeah, although we live in a culture now where people watch a movie and they're like, hey, this character's a terrible person. And it's like, yes, that is the point. That character is a terrible person. That's the plot.
I brought that up because every single person who said that they were offended by the joke had a My Little Pony avatar.
Oh. Oh.
Got him. I think My Little Pony is a good show. Like, at least from I saw like a couple episodes from the first season. I was like, this is cute. I like this. But it's just like when that's the only thing people watched back then. It's like, okay, it's the same thing.
I feel the reason why My Little Pony was popular is it was just, a basic, well-made Cartoon Network show, but it happened to have like this irony to it of just like, look, I'm watching a girl show and it's actually good. Showed y'all,
Yeah, no, I agree entirely. I think that's dumb, but like, yeah, I get it. I get how it happened and why it happened.
I don't have anything against it or its fans. Even the people who I said I felt were offended by a joke that I felt entitled to make. I never. I don't feel like it's necessary for people to like the same things and you can still be friends with them. Or, I certainly never made videos or jokes with the intention of upsetting anybody. So, I'd like to get to a situation where, people don't necessarily have to make fun of each other for liking things that they consider, I don't like using the word, but cringy,
Look, sometimes people have to give themselves a superiority complex over the TV shows they watch because they got nothing else going on,
They need to feel justified in the content they watch because that's the only thing they can like attach to their identity.
Yeah, that's all they have and they're nothing. Without that, they're fucking worthless.
I had I think the first opportunity I had over Instant Messenger to talk to Jonan Vasquez, and I was really into Invader Zim at the time. I was also really into Evangelion at the time, and he must have gotten so annoyed by me going on so many Evangelion tangents. I was around 15, 16 at the time, and so yeah, I've been the person who, looking back, I think, oh, I must have been so annoying and people were being so polite to me. And I still worry about that. Like, I mentioned at the job, like I learned afterwards on a couple of occasions from other people that like, I must have been bothering this person. And there was the absolute worst occasion. I found out like HR got involved and, I can understand what I did wrong now. It was nothing sexual, nothing insulting, but it was a really weird situation, and it was something that like, oh, people don't do this, and there were some coincidences involved, but what I was told was never to interact with this person again, and I felt so.
I've been there too, man. Fuck, it feels like I'm talking to somebody who gets me.
Well, I just want to finish saying this one thing fast. Like I was worried after that point that I couldn't work anymore. Like, is this the end of my career? Because like I didn't think that it was something like, it's not like it was going to ruin my reputation. But I felt so bad about making the person so uncomfortable and not being able to resolve it. I'm like I didn't feel able to work for the next couple of days because I felt so nauseous with grief, so it ended up on the other animators to do my work for me, and I felt awful about that. Eventually, I came back, and there's shot of sad chubby Webbers that I feel like even when I got back, that's all I felt able to work on was that one shot, like channel my grief into that, but when it happened, like later at CTN Expo, I showed my reel to Eric Goldberg, and he laughed at the shot, and so that was probably the most like that was so gratifying to me that Eric Goldberg laughed at something I did.
Oh,
wasn't Eric Goldberg at MomoCon last year? I thought he was.
Who's Eric Goldberg?
He's an animator, isn't he?
Oh.
Like for Disney.
He's the animator from Disney's Renaissance era who's still there.
I regret not asking him, but he apparently worked on the Genesis games of Aladdin.
Those look amazing. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, it's like they really push what like the Genesis could do. Just like have you guys seen? Oh, Nolan, have you seen the Genesis game of Aladdin? How it uses like real animators for the sprites?
I think we all have. Like, it's very impressive that they like that Disney did that. Even like that animators like wanted to work on a game. It's weird to me.
Though I still prefer the Super Nintendo game as far as gameplay goes.
I've never played either one, but I wanted to. I remember seeing commercials as a kid, and I was like,
I've only played the Genesis version. Yeah.
Really?
Look, you get the sword.
I mean, they're dramatically different because, like you said, the sword.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably just a preference of what you grew up with. I grew up with the Super Nintendo version and really, really enjoyed that. Though it has the most impossible level ever, the Cave of Wonders. There's a part where there's like lava coming through.
Fuck that. That was awful.
So, like, apparently, games in that era, they had one level designed specifically to fuck over people who rent games. Because, a lot of people could just play through a whole game in a weekend, and that sucks for sales. So they would have one level that's really difficult so that you would have to rent the game multiple times to defeat it.
Oh man.
For the Lion King, it was I just can't wait to be king segment with that fucking monkey
that level's impossible.
Fucking, you had to jump over with an ostrich? I fucking hate that. I don't understand how
what I really love about the well, I never played them back in the day, but I'm familiar with them now. I love that Aladdin, he has a sword and he just straight up kills people.
Yeah, fuck him.
I was actually talking about this in a call either earlier today or last night, but I'm a huge fan of the game series Sly Cooper, and playing it like after the fact, like with the mind of an adult. I just kind of realized these games are actually kind of fucked up because a lot of the plans involve like just straight up murdering people.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Like one of them is like you play as the character Bentley and you have to use these old like death traps in like these ancient tombs to kill guards and then harvest their souls.
What?
This is a real thing. This is a real thing that happens in Sly Cooper, and it's fucked. And nobody ever put it.
You remember that level in Shadow the Hedgehog where you're supposed to assassinate the president?
What? That's right. Nicholas is right. There's a level where the president is trying to escape via an airship, and you have to keep shooting at the airship until it explodes and kills the president.
That has my favorite line in the whole game. Like Black Doom says, "Even though the craft does not show signs, it is taking damage, I assure you."
Look, they didn't know how to show like damage. It costs extra to put like a smoke effect or whatever,
I just find it really funny that like there's a game that came out in 2005 during the Bush administration where you try to assassinate the president of the United States.
Yeah.
You're too slow.
You're too slow, Mr. President. I'm gonna fucking kill you.
Oh.
This is what you get for inciting a fake war.
This reminds me, in the video game Drake of the 99 Dragons, one of the worst Xbox games ever that looks like a Bruce Timm cartoon, there's a scene where you have to derail a subway, and the subway gets off the rail and crashes and explodes, and then it's just... And you do that just to open a door, like open a wall, and you just killed a bunch of innocent people, but you harvest their souls also. You're the good guy in this game, by the way. And it's like, wow.
Why were late 2000s games so fucked up? Damn.
I don't know. Like, so many games were like T-rated, like the Incredibles game, but I guess that was because you could throw people into lava and stuff.
Wait, what? Even after the E10 rating, Incredibles was rated T? That's...
Oh, no,
I think it might have been before.
Yeah. A lot of
E10 rating came out like...
Shadow the Hedgehog was originally going to be T, and then the E10 rating happened, and so Shadow was like, "Oh, we can edit out the word piss and change the blood to green, and so it's E10 now."
Yeah,
but it's the most hardcore
the Shadow the
E10
Hedgehog game. The Shadow the Hedgehog game feels like the Ninja Turtles movie when like Raphael just screamed, "Damn!
Get back here! I'm not finished with you."
Damn! We're going straight to hell.
Oh.
This is it for you, Doctor. You're
Yeah.
going straight to hell.
This was such a
And then
strange.
Shadow kills him.
Oh,
You see
was-
Shadow kill him.
Feels so edgy compared to M-rated stuff because it's skirting the edge of what you would assume it would do.
It really
Yeah.
does feel a lot edgier than like M-rated games. It's funny, like how that works.
It's just like it doesn't feel. You don't feel where it's supposed to be. Like, is it for kids or for teens? It doesn't really have a place.
It was for
Well,
Americans.
it seems like
it was supposed to be, Americans like guns and motorcycles and stuff, so that's what we're doing.
Yeah, no, it's
well, Shadow the Hedgehog feels more like it was aimed to be a certain rating versus it got graded a rating based off of the content.
Yeah,
well,
it was-
they after the fact they like changed some of the content so they could get that rating. Unless that's what you're saying, and I misunderstood.
No, I'm saying like most games, like say Mortal Kombat, isn't necessarily going, man, we really want an M rating. They're just making a game that happens to be super violent, and of course it gets an M rating. Versus Shadow the Hedgehog felt like half the statement was, we're going to make an adult version.
Yeah.
The Family Guy game for the PS2, it it got an M rating, but you can hear Brian say we're aiming for a T rating.
Oh.
It's understandable that they were, he was, doing a cheer like, give me an F, give me a U, give me a C. Oh, that's right, we're going for a T rating. That didn't work.
Whoops.
May as well have gone all out.
Yeah, should have. That reminds me of how Shadow the Hedgehog was conceived, though, which is a really fucking funny story. It's very short, but basically, if what I've heard is true, Azuka got a fan letter from a kid saying, Sonic should have a gun. And he thought, well, Sonic can't have a gun, but Shadow can. And then the first trailer was released for April Fools, like when Sonic was inducted into the Video Game Hall of Fame. I don't know if that's a real thing, but and
there was an anniversary trailer about hey, it's Sonic's 20th or whatnot anniversary. I don't it wouldn't have been 20th, but whatever
15th.
anniversary it was. Yeah, and so they showed footage from all these earlier games, and then was shooting up the screen and rock music starting up.
Yay.
Showing footage from Shadow.
And everybody thought it was an April Fool's joke, and then they had to go, no, this is real.
We're serious.
It was like before the fucking Diablo thing, where the guy goes, is this a late April Fool's joke?
Nope, we're for
You guys
reals.
don't have phones?
All right, hear me out.
Yeah.
Mario Odyssey DLC, Mario gun.
Yeah.
Mario gets a gun.
I mean, Mario already's gotten a gun with rabbits.
He turns into a tank. He can do that.
Oh, that's true. Okay, you know what? My joke's done. I'm out. I'm gonna leave.
He has a tank.
It's my last
He has a tank,
podcast.
and he's occupying New Donk City. So
Yeah.
Mario had a
man.
gun as far back as Yoshi Safari.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
that's
true.
No, that was
The Super
Yoshi.
Scope.
Wait, is Mario
No,
the playable character?
You
Yeah.
ride Mario. I mean, you ride Yoshi.
Whoa.
Because
Oh no.
I'll ride
you can
Mario.
shoot. You can actually shoot Yoshi in the back of the head in that.
Fuck yeah. Assassination style.
JFK style, you mean?
I was gonna say execution style, but JFK style works. That's a good
No,
classic.
that's Lenny style you're thinking of.
What's Lenny style?
You tell him about the rabbits, and then you shoot him in the back of the head.
Of course. Tell me about the rabbits.
The rabbits. No, the rabbits recreate the scene from of Mice and Men.
Wait, okay, so I'm looking at Yoshi's Safari because I didn't know Mario was playable, and apparently there's a character called Prince Pine.
Prince Pine.
Sounds-
How is he not a reoccurring character?
He sounds
with
like a
that
daddy.
name?
I
Prince
own Yoshi
Pine.
Safari, but I never had a Super Scope, so I could never actually play it.
Damn.
That's sad. I'm sorry, dude.
Yeah.
And now I don't have, a CRT screen television, so I couldn't play it anyway.
Yeah, I know there was a Kickstarter to make a new light gun that works on all TVs, and I'm curious, how's that going to work for individual consoles?
Well, it's honestly kind of shocking that Yoshi Safari didn't make it into the Virtual Console with just using the Wii remote.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I feel like what they would do is just have multiple cables, just like plug them in or something. Like
It'll look like one of those phone chargers from the 2000s where it plugs into literally every brand of phone.
yeah. What isn't it true that the government had to step in and go, this is fucking ridiculous. Stop this right
Yeah,
now.
it was creating too much waste, so it's like, please stop this.
in the United States in the current century, that just sounds very far fetched to me that they care about waste.
I'm just very thankful that modern consoles basically have the same outputs, the same HDMI, and the same plug to the electricity. You know.
I mean, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying, like, I'm shocked. I'm genuinely shocked.
Let's just accept this. We just gotta like be thankful and just not question it. Otherwise, they're gonna be like, you know what? Let's take out that regulation. Everyone has a different connector now. Fuck y'all.
This is
Donald
sort
Trump.
of
Everyone,
unrelated.
you get a connector by birth.
Oh, yeah.
What were you saying, Nicholas?
This has reminded me of something. Okay, so you know the Alf cartoon from the 80s? There was an episode written, I want to say by David Silverman. I don't remember who actually wrote it, but it was a takeoff on Rapunzel. You know what? I'm going to look up who wrote it because it was someone involved with The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Is that important to the story? Like, is it like a secret big conspiracy?
Yeah. Well, no, it's... okay, hold on. Alf Rapunzel. So the episode was about the evil queen owns all the TV stations, and so it's about how, hey, the FCC is coming in and limiting her to only owning one station on the TV, and it was sort of pro FCC propaganda, which I thought was amusing. Recently that restriction on owning stations was rescinded. I think for certain big companies want to own a bunch of stations, and now they can. So it's amusing seeing that Alf episode being so yay, FCC doing this good thing when that good thing isn't there anymore.
It's really strange. What the hell?
What is this world we're living in? It's a nightmare. I want to off this ride.
I'm gonna look up that episode.
Yeah, it's Alf Tales Season 1, Episode 7, Rapunzel. Like, it's Rapunzel, but it's rap. I guess that's the other thing about it, like Alf rapping, because that's the 80s.
I think Chalk Zone also had their own Rapunzel episode.
Now, have you seen the
That
Super
sounds
Mario
plausible.
episode Bad Rap? I mean,
Is that
the voice actors for that just plain couldn't rap. It was amazing.
was that the Milli Vanilli episode?
Oh, it's a totally different episode. I mean, Mario Brothers characters are rapping throughout it, or rather, they're kind of talking in a rhyming way that doesn't fit the beat.
Oh.
It's really amazing.
I only remember the Mario episode, Mind Your Mummy Mario, where Mario gets mummified, and it was solid,
No.
10 out of 10.
I had a VHS of the Christmas episode
Yeah.
from Super Mario
Mhm.
World.
Dave
Where
Christmas.
Ugar, I think
Ugtar.
might have been the Toad replacement.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Everybody's getting on Izzy. It's Oogtar.
You
I'm
his
sorry, I don't remember his
working
obscure
name was
character from
Bart
Super
Zan.
Mario World.
Tarzan?
Ugtar's working name was Bart Zan. There was an
Bart
interview
Zan.
with one of the writers, and he said that he didn't recognize the name Ugtar, but looking at his script, there was a character named Bart Zan who fits that description.
Oh, look, for obvious reasons, they couldn't use that.
Okay, so
They-
the Alf episode was written by David Cohen, I
Mhm.
think.
David X. Cohen?
Maybe.
David X. Cohen? What the?
That's so strange. Wow.
I mean, it's political satire, so maybe kind of fits in with.
Oh, that's how he did it before Futurama. That's on fucking Alf. Oh, what?
Yeah, well, I mean, who is the Simpsons guy who worked on Fat Albert earlier?
I don't know.
I wouldn't know. Yeah, sorry.
You know, when the Cosby allegations came out, he was saying, "Hey, I worked on Fat Albert." Bill Cosby actually hired Fat Albert writers to write his doctorate thesis for him.
His doctorate thesis?
Yeah,
Wow.
like on the Cosby Show, you know, it always credits him as Dr. William H. Cosby because he got this honorary doctorate degree, but actually his thesis that he wrote that got him the degree was written by Fat Albert writers for him.
Bill Cosby is such a fucking hack fraud.
What a lie.
Now that Kids Next Door joke doesn't make sense.
What?
Because number 5's dad was a Bill Cosby parody, and he was also a doctor. So now it's just like
He's a fraud. He's a goddamn lie.
also he's a rapist. But
there's an episode
what's more important here? Clearly,
there's an episode of Fat Albert. I guess you think of it as a 70s show, but it went on into the 80s. And there's an episode about computer hackers, and Bill Cosby lectures kids about kids don't hack computers.
Okay.
It's amazing.
I won't do that in the fucking 80s when there aren't really any computers that people are using besides a ColecoVision or whatever.
Well, I guess, maybe war games came out and they're like,
shit.
kids can cause nuclear war. We better stop this. Who better to tell kids not to hack computers than Bill Cosby?
Yeah, I gotta listen to that guy. Shit.
I wonder, if we had widespread internet like we do now with Y2K, what would that been like? Imagine how many people were like, I know how to stop Y2K, delete System 32.
Oh no.
I wonder if that happened. It was the 90s, so there were probably message boards. I wonder if somebody was like, here's how to stop Y2K, delete.
Oh, there were chain emails. That's how stuff was spread back then about, hey, forward this to 1,000 people and you'll get, and Bill Gates will give you $1 for every person who gets it. That stuff was everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, what's the point of chain emails anyway? What did you stand to benefit from just mass sending shit?
You didn't, but, they propagate themselves, virally. It's just like genes in DNA, that they're things that catch on and spread. So just for their own sake, they're like living organisms, except without any benefit to anything.
That was very profound, Solid Snake.
Well, it's Richard Dawkins' meme theory. It's the whole thing. They're memes.
Memes, Colonel. I want to find out about the memes.
Exactly.
Snake, you cannot search up more memes.
Epic fail, Colonel.
Huh.
Bro,
Colonel.
you just cringe.
Colonel, you just posted cringe. You're going to lose subscriber. I'm sorry, I just love Metal Gear.
I wonder where Deeper Cut is now.
Dead.
Vegeta, what does the scouter say about his power level? It's over 9,000! What, 9,000?
That's the thing about, when I look back at YouTube poops I made in 2007, the thing I regret most is including stuff like it's over 9,000 and things like that. I was using them in a way that I felt was different from what other people were doing, but now it doesn't matter. It just all sort of blends together.
Oh.
YouTube poop auteur, Walrus Guy.
Look, it was a different time. We just accepted it,
Yeah?
The one that I never liked, and, nothing against you if you did like it, but I never could stand the what the boom thing.
I used that in a video, recently, the Sonic X video. Don't judge me.
I saw, yeah.
I'm not judging you. I'm just, I don't like the thing itself. And so, when I made Link gets, Morshu accidentally gives Link plastic surgery instead of bombs. I don't remember the exact title now, but I took the original source files and it came from an extended what the fuck did you do to me, holy fucking shit type thing, and I had the beeping there and I had it wind down so it seemed like I was going to do the boom thing but didn't, and that was one of my favorite things that I did.
Yeah, it's a classic. You can't deny this.
You just got pranked, bro.
It's right up there with what other memes that were popular at the time,
Yes.
Spaghetti is still funny.
Yeah.
Spaghetti is still funny.
That's food we can all eat.
I mean, the term for overused YouTube poop sources is spadinner, based on the idea of people who, back then there was a lot of people not quite editing on the right sound. So I hope she made lots of dinner. That sort of thing.
Yeah,
I loved that. I miss TR Mario stuff. He stopped doing stuff and went on to do other things, but his poops were top tier. 10 out of 10.
Yeah. We need the where are they now? YouTube poopers. Where's I Am the Gang? Where is he?
Gabo-chan has been working on a single thing for the past several years. He's been working on a crossover between Goof Troop and Azumanga Daioh.
Well,
What?
Yeah, for over 3 years now, Gabo-chan has been working on this really advanced crossover between Goof Troop and Azumanga Daioh, where the Azumanga Daioh girls help Pete to a pizza restaurant. The clips that he's shown me are pretty amazing, but I see some of this stuff. It's like, man, no wonder this is taking forever. He's doing so much editing individual frames into situations and making whole backgrounds himself.
is this necessary?
This is like concentrated autism.
But in a very good way.
In a good way, yeah. But still. I would assume he's good. I don't know.
They're definitely not boring, but sometimes when I'm going to sleep, I just play one of Gabo-chan's poops because they're long and there's not really a plot. It's just weird effects and things like that, jokes, and it's great to help me fall asleep because all of my troubles drift away. Focus on that.
Yeah, that's a quote.
It's a quote, he says. Beautiful. Good job.
The recent, I guess like one of the more recent poops I made, the Kirby inhales the Starlight Express and achieves locomotive apotheosis. That one was done deliberately to be more in the style of Gabo-chan's poops.
I had no idea these people were still making stuff. I didn't know you were making stuff. I thought everyone kind of died or just,
Well, this was a few years ago now, but it's one of the last things that I made before I got hired to do anything and didn't have time to do silly web stuff anymore.
You have a real job. But when did you get your start in the industry exactly?
2017.
What was your first project?
Oh, it was Hot Streets. I had an opportunity to meet with Dan Harmon and Justin Roiland for, really it was very deliberate planning on my part. I saw for MST3K backers, one of the prizes was a dinner with Dan Harmon and Justin Roiland. And I felt like, it was before the stuff about his terrible treatment of Megan Gans had come out. So I was a big Dan Harmon worshiper at the time. I loved Community. I loved Rick and Morty. And there was...
Same.
Hi. I could finally hear you.
Okay. I was curious because I tried speaking a couple of times and I got kind of like dozed over because we were talking about old YouTube poopers and it wasn't a YouTube pooper, but I wanted to bring up this thing about I saw Bad Luck Brian, the old meme guy, a couple of years ago at a convention. He had a table and such, trying to make himself money off of his old fame.
Oh,
that's so sad.
Really surprising how much you remember Bonus Stage, right? Matt Wilson.
Yes.
I think he still makes cartoons like Cartoon Saloon and such, and practically nobody seems to even notice them, that sort of thing. And it's wow, Bonus Stage was huge. It wasn't Homestar Runner huge, but it was there was Homestar Runner, there was Happy Tree Friends. There were those enormous, larger than anything things, and then within the people who watch Flash cartoons things, there was Bonus Stage, and that was one of the big ones. And Matt Wilson's still doing stuff, but it's just practically impossible for that stuff to get noticed now.
Yeah, thanks YouTube.
But yeah, so how was Dan Harmon? Because I used to be a really big fan of him, like you said before.
He was extremely nice to me. Everybody was extremely nice to me. I owe him and especially Justin so much, and I still don't have anything bad to say about Justin. He supported me so much. He really pushed for. It's really thanks to him that I have a job because I'm not employed now. By the way, if you're listening to this and you want me to animate something for you, I've been doing freelance stuff since then, like the work at Yada and on other, on some other shows. It's been freelance, but I live with my mom again. I lived in LA for a while and that was great.
There's no shame in living with your parents.
No, it's just it'd be great if she didn't have to support me.
That's fair.
Yeah, I know that feel. I'm only just recently moved out, and it's still super difficult.
Hard.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I hope the best of luck for you too.
Thank you. So what was I saying? Right. So Everybody that I've shown my reel to in person has seemed very impressed with it. Like Dan Harmon's words were, this is way too good for something someone shows you on a tablet at midnight, because it was after midnight by the time I showed it to him, and he was super drunk, and like he outright told me I'm too drunk to know what to do with this, so he called Justin over. So big thanks to both of them, and they were so nice. They even recorded voice work for me. Like they improvised a little thing on the spot for me to animate to, and I haven't yet. Like after the stuff with Megan Gans came out, I felt like I don't know if I can use it, because I felt sort of betrayed, because the Dan Harmon who was so nice to me and who had acted very woke and everything didn't seem to have even acknowledged in his own mind.
Well, it seemed like, I mean, I'm not an expert. I didn't really follow it too much, but I saw like he talked about it on his podcast, and then she even responded with like, "This is how you do it." Like,
Yeah,
she seemed to have
she
forgiven
forgave
him.
But it's specifically that it was, the Dan Harmon who I met was one who hadn't acknowledged yet that he had ever done anything wrong, even to himself.
Okay. Like, would you be able to do a new recording with him and feel more comfortable with it versus using the old one?
Just plain don't know how to approach it, I guess. It's none of my business in a way.
Humph! Jake, you're back! Shut your face. I came back for the music.
Shut your face. Here's what you missed on Adventure Time. It's Mathmatical. What do you think about Marceline and Bubblegum getting together? Does that leave Finn out in the dust, or is it just adorbs? Tell us what you think by commenting or leaving a voicemail at 917.
There was one thing that I really wanted to say if I ever got a platform to do it. You remember when Mathmatical, that Adventure Time thing, they fired Dan Rickmers over that, insinuating Marceline and Bubblegum might have had a relationship. Yeah, it's something that was controversial at the time, but it totally got forgotten. And I'm quoting what Adam Muto said directly. If it was just a fan video, there would be no problem at all. The problem was that it was made by a production company actively involved with the show. The video took something that was a possible subtext and declared it in effect text, and made it seem like the production was actively seeking out input on plot development. Now, like you think at the time it was pretty bad and homophobic, because if it had been a straight relationship they were suggesting might have happened, there's no way anybody would have gotten fired over that. But now looking back, especially seeing as that not only had Olivia Olsen and Rebecca Sugar had both confirmed it, but then it made it into the final episode of the show. Like it's outright text now. I think that Dan Rickmers deserves a big apology from Frederator and Adam Muto and everyone. And it's like this was controversial in its time. Like there was a brouhaha about it, but everyone seems to have gradually forgotten. And I would like if it were unforgotten and things were atoned in that regard.
Yeah,
that's super fair.
Yeah, because I remember that controversy, and I was like, "Huh, no one's talking about that. No one remembers this." And you brought it up of all people. Yeah.
I don't have much to add other than it's just a fucked up situation. I feel bad for the guy.
Well, like a lot of companies are really quick to jump on the side of progressiveness once it becomes profitable. And then,
Agreed.
it's just like all of a sudden, oh, okay, so it's cool to do this. It benefits us the most. Yes, we're 100% for this. It's always a money thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard to really feel like anything's ever sincere.
Everything's always a money thing. I mean, it's not that the writers, I'm sure the people involved in, I don't want to mention specific things because they, it's sort of, they're all loaded and, I'd bring up specific fans or detractors of them, but things that come off as especially woke or like they're trying to be woke. I don't doubt that the writers actually are passionate about that, but from the company's standpoint, it's like if you look at the press release for when Nickelodeon was making the Fred movie, that it was saying kids love Fred and stuff like that. Nobody involved was actually saying that they themselves like Fred. Obviously the company just saw it as profitable to make something with Fred. there's a lot that needs to be improved in every industry, but corporations do exist to make money. That's they wouldn't argue with that. That's legally what their purpose is, and they have to do everything they can to make as much money as possible. So the important thing to consider is individual people working at companies can be great, but the companies themselves, they're not people, even if they pretend to be. Like, you look at social media accounts for Wendy's or anywhere, it's not the company saying those opinions. It's someone they hired to try to
right. Well, they strategically figured that them saying a spicy hot take on some kind of issue, the reaction to it's going to be beneficial, regardless if they lose a couple of customers who angry complain about it and become headlines. It will ultimately have more support at the end of the day.
Right. The thing is, they want to make themselves seem like friends, and that means like people. But just look at Disney. Practically nobody who worked at the company in the 90s works there now. It's not the same company. They own the rights to the stuff that they used to. That certainly nobody who was involved with Snow White or Pinocchio is still at Disney. So, there's nothing wrong with liking stuff the companies make, nothing wrong with liking the people, but a company itself isn't, I think brand loyalty is something that is very insidious and not something that should be.
I agree with that. It's not the same, but similar. I used to teach at an art institute, and the art institutes themselves are these money-grubbing for-profit schools that are they're awful. But all the faculty that actually legitimately cared about the students, like the faculty at the school that I went to and taught at, like the people there were fantastic. The people cared so much, put so much effort into it, but the institution itself is just shit.
Mm-hmm.
There's cogs individual people that do care. So when you say something like, a business doesn't give a shit, it's not to say that the people within it doesn't. It's just the name brand, the people that the name you associate with it.
Yeah,
that's the money.
Yeah, the person writing those tweets for Wendy's is probably underpaid. They're not doing it because they like the food. They're doing it because they need to make money, and it's what they're perceived as being good at. And
they're social scientists.
And the board of directors at Wendy's that hasn't watched any of the anime they're referencing. That's for sure.
No.
Wendy's not really my waifu. You liar!
Yeah,
I refuse.
Fuck.
I find corporate social media very fascinating because people are like, oh, it's dishonest and trying to create a bond with you, and I'm thinking advertising has always done that. So kind of just an evolution of what's already been there. I just find it funny that people are catching on now.
You remember a few years ago when the word selfie was all over advertising? Maybe it was more than a few years ago, but I walked around the mall and there was a Red Robin ad that says burgers you'd take a selfie with, and you look in the one of the stores and there's a Disney princess gathered together that says #selfie on it, that sort of thing. Pool hunters see, okay, the word selfie is in, let's put it all over our ads. It was like the equivalent of what Totally Radical was in the 80s.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, have you seen I think Snapchat sometimes has a sponsored filter that goes with some big thing that's happening at the moment, and people love it because it's a goofy little thing, but it's just a giant advertisement. People are sheep, is what I think we're getting at.
I was back, I guess, in my preteens, so this would have been 2001, 2002. I was really into Neopets, and I remember every once in a while they would have these gourmet items like Lunchables, that sort of thing. That gourmet foods have a special effect, that sort of thing, and it would be whoever was sponsoring at the time. So you'd have Lunchables items that were classified as gourmet.
Gourmet Lunchables, my favorite.
Okay, so I guess this is a good time as any to bring it up. So Mewtwo Strikes Back being remade as CGI, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
For some reason, yeah.
Well, it's because it's aimed at the American market, and seen as Americans only watch CGI movies now, they see that, and remakes are in. Look what Disney's doing with their remakes. So, of course, it's the profitable thing. The director Kunihiko Yuyama had previously said that he was retiring from directing Pokemon movies, but then it's announced he's directing this one. So I think maybe OLM said we're making this movie regardless. So he felt like he wanted to do it himself. But anyway, so the writer, he used to be the head writer for Pokemon before he retired due to ill health. And he eventually died. But Takashi Shudo had this whole blog about his career in the anime industry, and some of the stuff that the producers of Pokemon had said were, the really weird things. Like, you may know about his original planned script for the third movie was discovering a Tyrannosaurus fossil that comes to life, and it's this big thing for the Pokemon world because it proves that there used to be animals besides Pokemon that lived in this world. And the script was rejected by the producers because there was recently an anime movie about living cars that didn't do well at the box office, so it was felt that Minerals Coming to Life would not be a successful movie. I think that was the reason.
That's a really stretch.
Yeah, I really love executives' thought processes on what makes something successful.
Yeah,
because it's always wait.
I want to talk about real Pokemon or real animals being in Pokemon. They already exist. There's a mongoose.
Okay, so Shudo talked about that. In early episodes, you'll see a worm, you'll see some fish, but those were animation errors. He preferred if you think of them as Pokemon that look exactly like the real thing. So, maybe they're Ditto that remember what fish used to look like. And the mongoose was Ghastly doing a different form.
I know, but it was just really funny. That's like, ooh, Ekans. Well, their predator is a mongoose.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, what?
And it says mongoose, or in the Japanese version, I guess. So I want to say that I am a fan of Takashi Shudo's work. His work before Pokemon, and I'll outright recommend on here the OVA Minky Momo Bridge Over Dreams is one of the best one-off OVAs I've ever seen. He was considered an especially good writer in Japan, and I think the Japanese version of the first movie is it has way more depth to it than the American version. I think it's especially good. He's written some stuff like Go Shogun the Time Trancher is considered a classic 80s anime. But my point is he was an especially thoughtful writer, and if there were flaws with his work on Pokemon, it's that he put too much thought into theme and symbolism and such, rather than making a story that would be as streamlined. Certainly nobody who doesn't know about Pokemon is going to understand them. But I think that anyone who watches the Japanese version of Mewtwo Strikes Back, keeping in mind certain, there's a lot of subtext in there that's I think especially clever that didn't make it in. And when I saw the CG version being there, it's like, oh, nobody's ever going to take this seriously now, because it just looks, video games tend to look better now than that.
Yeah. Somebody in my server posted a picture of the new armored Mewtwo in the movie, and it looks like fucking bitch. It looks terrible.
I mean, it's easy to forget, but the production design of the first movie, it's got a really gothic look to it.
It does.
True.
Things like that ammonite looking thing that the clones come out of, and they just sort of ooze out of it. I mean, that was all stuff, and it's there's so much stuff in there that you would just never see in a Western made movie that it'd be nice if, of course, critics aren't going to notice that stuff. But like, if you look at in Japan on Japanese websites, there's if there's ever a ranking of Pokemon movies, different things will always ranked in different spots, but Mewtwo Strikes Back is always mentioned as even adults won't be bored with this one, that sort of thing. But, so I want to say that you go on.
I know you're talking about how great the movie is, but I actually had a conversation about it recently because I on my road trip, and I mostly more of the joking side of things about the movie, because the dub was interesting. And I'm really curious about, since this is basically a shot-for-shot remake, but CGI for this reboot or remake, I wonder if they're going to. I'm assuming they're probably going to redub all the lines versus just reusing the old original voiceovers. But there's so many like things that are very like, I don't know, impactful from the original. Like them accidentally saying the wrong Pokemon. I think it's like Slicer, but they say Alakazam instead.
Alakazam.
Oh,
It's like I can't. If they remake it, I kind of still want that typo.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. That's interesting.
And then like dubbing has changed so much because in the original one, because it was made for Western kids and Americanization localization was such a big thing. There's so many jokes added in, kind of like in Digimon the movie. Would they actually go with all the jokes like they did before, or would they try to make it closer to the original script?
Well, let me just finish what I was saying about Shudo, then I'll segue into that. So, Shudo, like his health suffered badly, his mental health suffered badly. Like he was very depressed because of the stuff that he was trying to do with Pokemon that he couldn't do. He struggled really hard to make it a not a formulaic show and to do as interesting things as possible. And he was, there was a lot of like, after his script was rejected, he got really depressed and went heavily into drinking and that sort of thing. It's possible if it weren't for Pokemon, maybe he'd still be alive today. He died of a subarachnoid from smoking, but who knows? And, if you think about like Lauren Faust with My Little Pony, like the companies really run people through the ringers who if you get too passionate about something that's a corporate property, then it's not going to end well for you. And it seems to be the sad lesson from that. So with Digimon, Mamoru Hosoda, I mean, you know that like the first or the American Digimon movie that came that it was made up of 3 different movies plus the End of July Anaconda segment. I am very happy to say that I had never seen the Digimon movie. I had never even watched Digimon as a kid, and so as an adult or age 22, I was looking through it because I loved the Crayon Shin-chan movie, the Adult Empire Strikes Back so much. I was looking through other franchise anime movies, and I saw Hosoda's first short Digimon movie, and it was one of the most impactful things that like, oh my god, it's like I had seen this really amazing feature-length movie that was done in 20 minutes. It had that much power, and I became a big Mamoru Hosoda fan after that. I think his work that he did at Toei, he went on to do The Girl Who Left Her Time and Summer Wars, and most recently Mirai, which I haven't seen yet. But he did a One Piece movie, and he did episodes of Magical Doremi.
Was it the movie 6?
It was Baron no Matsuri and the Secret Island.
That's movie 6.
And it was an allegory for his time at Ghibli. Original was Moving Castle, but he was fired, and Miyazaki threw out all his work on it. And so his One Piece movie, Baron no Matsuri and the Secret Island, was sort of an allegory for his time working at Ghibli, with Baron no Matsuri himself representing Miyazaki.
So what you're telling me is that Baron no Matsuri and the Secret Island is just a giant fuck you to Hayao Miyazaki?
It's not just that, but that's certainly a part of it. According, he's not the credited script writer, but according to the script writer, Hosoda didn't follow his script, and I think that's, like you look at a lot of his stuff and I feel like, this is, even though he's not credited as a script writer here, he's definitely the one responsible for the story. Like if you look at Reiko Yoshida's Digimon works that Hosoda didn't do, and the works that Hosoda did, then it's obvious that it's pretty much mostly or all him in terms of the story.
For those that are interested, you could search it. What he's saying, I couldn't remember the Japanese of it, but I just refer to it as One Piece Movie 6. It's a really good film, like especially for a One Piece film, and you can pretty much watch it stand alone and still get a full enjoyment of it. I highly recommend it. The animation is fantastic.
I'd say it's a good vertical slice of One Piece. If you're ever wondering, would I like One Piece? Watch movie 6. I think that's like a very good, like, I guess just like it captures every tone and like sort of like, just what One Piece is about really, and tonally in like one movie. It's really good.
But there's like
a
very
pseudo
Hosoda
battle.
Too. Yeah.
There's like there's like a pseudo battle with Sanji cooking, and like I think he's using like giant butter things. It's like ice skates. It's fantastic. I love it.
So another thing, like this segues into my impression again. That I had taken the Hosoda's work, and especially his Digimon movies, were so important to me that when it came out, like a newer translation of an interview he did regarding episode 21, that there was an implied incestuous subtext between Ikari and Taichi.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw it, but like that was a real harsh blow to me, because it's like I had just thought of it as such a pure brother sister thing, and I'm not saying that this stuff shouldn't be ever done in fiction, but maybe not with children in stories that are made for children.
Are you talking about the Digimon incest thing?
Yeah, episode 21. Like he said.
Oh yeah, no, that's fake.
Yeah, don't worry.
No, it's not. Like it was. I specifically I thought it was fake, and so I bought the book that the interview was in and had it professionally translated, and it's true. The whole interview was translated and posted on what was it? I don't remember the name of it. It's a Wave Motion Canon, I think. But I gave him the scans of the book because I was so sure there was like I needed to know for sure that this is fake. I was like, oh no, this confirms it.
No.
So I felt so betrayed by Hosoda there. As I had felt like in like bad times, or like, oh, this thing sucks. Okay, but at least his Digimon movie is there, and it's so perfect, and it's sort of something that I can aspire to with my work. And it's like, it's just, oh.
But you guys want to get into the questions?
Actually, I have one here from at Greenwing Spino. I think that's how you pronounce it. Thoughts on Genndy Tartakofsky's new adult series, Primal?
Yeah, Primal.
I'm excited.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
This isn't a problem with this thing specifically. It's in general. I wish we would ever have historical or scientifically accurate dinosaurs in anything. It's like
okay, that's
like
fair.
When individual things don't do it, it's like, that it's like the Bechdel test. It's like it's not a problem if one individual thing fails it, but the problem being everything fails it. Like, why
we need better dinosaur representation.
Agreed.
It's just, everything stopped at Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park was so big that everything is only ever dinosaurs as portrayed in Jurassic Park from then on.
I mean, Jurassic Park was scientifically accurate before the time, and then we learned about it, and now people are like,
God.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, how many people actually know that dinosaurs have feathers? I mean, like, I know it seems relatively common, but I don't know. It seems like general audiences still have the idea that the T-Rex from Jurassic Park is accurate.
Yeah.
And that's why it keeps getting reused.
Yeah.
It's what's in popular consciousness. It's what people, it's the comfortable thing to draw.
It's shorthand, it's what people instantly recognize, yeah. But
visual shorthand, yeah. It's just a lot easier.
Primal looks really cool. The new Adult Swim show by Genndy Tartakofsky, whenever that's coming out, it looks angular as hell. It looks cray.
From what I've heard,
the backgrounds are fantastic.
From what I've heard, it's just there's gonna be no dialogue. It's just gonna be completely silent in terms of like
what is
talking.
This 1926?
I hope so.
I love everything Genndy has done. Like, I'm just like, well, I mean, y'all know what I would say, but I'm not gonna say it.
No, say it. Say it.
No.
What's your thoughts on Symbiotic Titan, Nolan?
I miss it.
Yeah.
Okay, Nicholas, we've been throughout this conversation, it's been shown that we mesh very well so far. So I need to ask, have you seen Symbiotic Titan, yes or no?
Yes.
My love.
I'll tell you something that when I was, this isn't about Symbiotic Titan, but I kind of have to bring it up as a segue. When I was at Stupid Buddy, all the high up people, I'd ask, "Are you ever going to make more Titan Maximum?" And they would say, "No, probably not." But it's not a never thing. The one thing that nobody had heard of when I brought it up was Robotomy.
Oh, I know that.
Not a single person even knew what Robotomy was.
I remember
it just showed up
Robotomy.
randomly. Like I remember I was watching like these new shows, Regular Show and Adventure Times. Like, oh yeah, these are some good Cartoon Network shows. And then I just saw like coming up next, Flapjack, followed by Robotomy, and I was like, what the fuck's Robotomy? It just came out of nowhere and just disappeared.
This was right when Cartoon Network was doing its "we're aiming this strictly at boys" thing, and they wanted to sort of segue into Adult Swim, and so it's this really like it comes off as super edgelord by now standards. It seems to exist specifically to be as close to Super Jail type stuff as possible.
Pretty much, it was Super Jail for kids. But let's see. Any next question? Ooh, if anyone wants to choose one.
Stop fucking booming,
All
Jesus
right,
Christ.
I saw one that was by Gummy-istics. What's your favorite cereal?
Raisin Brand.
Urkelos.
What?
Wait, what? What? Nicholas, what?
Have you seen the Urkelos commercial? It's
no.
based on Urkel from Family Matters or whatever it was. Jaleel White does the song, and it, obviously it's just like a Fruit Loop type thing. It has nothing to do, it doesn't have any marshmallow shapes, but it's there, and it's.
I like Honey Nut Cheerios.
Yeah, I'll just take Raisin Bran. It's healthy, I guess.
Like right now, I guess like the most recent cereal I bought was Trix. I think the Trix Rabbit is really manipulative. Like make kids feel sorry for the rabbit friends.
Yeah.
I mean, he's emotionally manipulative.
I mean, but like, you're buying the cereal to eat for yourself. You can't give it to the Trix Rabbit. So like, you're just perpetuating the cycle if you buy.
Yeah. I just don't believe his lies. Trix Rabbit's I bet the Trix Rabbit is an incel.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, he's definitely a cereal cock.
Virgin Trix Rabbit versus Chad Captain Crunch.
Ooh. I'd be into that. I also okay, so this is stupid, but one time I was sitting with a friend and I was eating Captain Crunch with him, and like I took the first bite and just started screaming.
What?
In pain, like jokingly. And like he legitimately thought I was hurting because the whole joke about Captain Crunch destroying the roof of your mouth.
What?
It's not a joke.
What are you talking?
If you ever eat that if you haven't let it sogged for a bit, then it really scratches you up.
Ah.
Yeah, Captain Crunch is fucking awful. It's like a D tier cereal.
I love it. I love the peanut butter crunch.
Well, yeah, but you love the peanut butter, not because of the crunch. Like,
it's true. I do really love peanut butter.
Like, you could get Reese's Puffs. You could get you could just make like peanut butter bagels. I love like smearing some Irish butter and then some peanut butter on a bagel, and then just like.
Oh my god, I want a bagel so bad.
I want a fucking bagel right now. Like, guys, do you want to just fucking stop with the podcast? Let's all go get fucking bagels.
I want an everyday bagel with like ham and cheese in the middle, but the cheese is slightly melted. Oh.
Izzy, we need to network here. Like,
no, please.
Here's a question by
let's get bagels at Momo.
At Platinum Deluxe says, whatever happened to that deal between Walrus Guy and G4? I've heard something about that. What?
I haven't heard anything about that.
No, there was no deal with G4 and Walrus Guy. Sadly, I remember there was a deal for G4 and Epic Mealtime, but that fell through.
And then they went to like some fuck off channel that nobody knows about.
Yeah. Oh wait, that happened?
Oh wait, are they thinking? Oh no, wait. There was a Machinima's Happy Hour thing. Maybe they're thinking of that.
I guess
I got contacted by Machinima to make a cartoon for Happy Hour after. Okay, so you know that Mario meets Patrick Star thing. Like I made that originally, and I only posted it on Newgrounds. So of course it got posted a bunch unauthorized on YouTube because you just can't keep stuff off YouTube. And it became popular recently, which I thought was kind of interesting. It was just this short, silly 10-second thing that I made. So it's not even my own characters. So I'm not all that upset to see it get spread around like that. But after I made that, Machinima asked me, hey, you want to make cartoons for our Happy Hour thing? And they were offering it's like $2,000 for a single cartoon if you give them all the rights. And I thought, oh, finally my troubles are over. but that like I would present them ideas, and it became clear pretty quickly that they weren't even looking at them, that they were just pretending to. And I was like, oh, these people don't actually.
No.
Like, I'm sure I could have made money off it, but I've screwed myself over by not taking money from things that I felt gross about, and I'm probably gonna keep screwing myself over. Like,
we gotta sell out. We need money. It's like that real big fish song, "Sell Out," as played by in the game Disney's Extreme Skate Adventure.
Oh no, like I can say this, and I think anyone who's interested in this sort of thing, even if they've never watched Hot Streak, interested in the one thing that I didn't know is that shows are assigned ratings. Like, TV 14, the show is told your TV 14. It's not like they make episodes and then it gets rated based on that. They're told you're going to be TV 14, make it based on that. The same was true with Rick and Morty. But Rick and Morty, because it got so popular, basically gets to be a TVMA show with it's like, regardless of how bloody it gets, it still gets to be TV 14. But Hot Streets, like, there was stuff like, okay, blood has to be green in certain situations, or the one situation where it felt like it ruined a joke was when a character was, Bransky was mentioning a character's blood all over my face after I shoot you, and then he shoots the character and there's no blood. And that was a network thing for TV 14. It's like, oh, it just kind of ruins the joke. It's and then I see the season 3 premiere of Rick and Morty, and it's doing a Mad Max parody, and there's really well animated fluid blood everywhere. It's like, oh, hey, look what they get to do. That's not fair.
Damn.
But one thing that I had heard that was hilarious is that Rick and Morty, back around the first season, they were they were told, no, you can't do this. But Justin Roiland would bring in, show them Family Guy episodes they aired last night. Like, look what this episode of Family Guy you just showed did this a lot worse. So, they would get to do it in Rick and Morty based on that.
Yeah, it's kind of like the standards and practice thing that happened with Alex Hirsch on Gravity Falls, where they're like, you can't have them play Spin the Bottle, and Alex Hirsch tried looking through a bunch of like Disney sitcoms trying to say, hey, you did it here, but he just couldn't find it.
Okay, so one of the first ones is to Walrus Guy, many of your old poops excelled at minimalism. So what are your thoughts on more and more YTPs becoming oversaturated with video effects? Evolution, there was a lot of stuff. I think every style is worthwhile. There's a lot of interesting stuff to be done minimalistically, and there's a lot of interesting. I mean, the reason they were minimalistic is that the video software I was working with was Flash, Macromedia Flash at the time. So, I didn't have access to the After Effects and Sony Vegas things that people are doing now. And in many cases that worked well for them, but in many cases I feel like, I wish I'd been able to push it further, or I like seeing things be able to go further than was possible at the time.
Yeah, because video editing back then wasn't as well. I guess all I had personally was just Windows Movie Maker. And what did you use back then?
I started off just using Flash, and like the genre now. Flash poop, but back at the time when I'd only made Link Gets Cancer and the Mario and Luigi Travel Through Time saga, there was big controversy over on the official YouTube poop website. Like, a matter of people saying these aren't YouTube poop, and what I had seen, and I don't think it's up anymore, but it was a poop called Link plus Dinner equals Disaster, and that may have been the first ever YouTube poop that had an overarching story, like the whole thing being a story to it, and that was what I wanted to do, like tell stories. Like taking these things and form them into ridiculous news stories, and maybe sort of have some of my own animation in them, but mostly using existing footage. And a lot of people, that just wasn't what YouTube poop was, and things have evolved a lot since then. That's a very common thing to do now, but just the concept of what people think of YouTube poop as a whole has evolved. And it's interesting to look at museum stuff from the 1930s through 1970s. Like, oh, hey, this is YouTube poop, but before YouTube, editing stuff incoherently.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Oh man, I just remembered. I want to. Can I tell like a really small YouTube poop story?
Go ahead.
So like, I had a student in one of my classes. I tend to show videos of different cartoon shows as references to like animation, and this particular student didn't quite grasp that and just thought I was just showing random shit. And he was just kind of like, well, if you're going to show videos, show this one. And he like, I searched and I'm like, okay, fine. And we play it, and it's this awkward video of like Kingdom Hearts scenes that are randomly clipped from each other. So, be like, Sora, we are friends. Just random things to recreate a different sentence.
Oh.
And then also awkwardly, it was a weird mix up of like Kingdom Hearts and Hogan's Heroes of all things.
Was it a Pooh's Adventures of Kingdom Hearts?
Probably something like that.
But and I'm just like, did you just link me to a YouTube poop? And he was like, no, I would never do that. And I'm like, but this is what this is. And he just got really angry, and he just didn't like the word poop.
Oh.
But he's like, you know how I know it's not a YouTube poop? Because I made it.
Whoa.
I'm like, did you just?
It's a stone, Luigi. You didn't make it.
It was just this awkward exchange of him like, one, not only did he tell me to watch a video under the pretense that's a video he found so he could get my legit opinion of it, which is just sneaky, and then secondly, I had to educate him on YouTube poop. So this particular guy really loved PBS shows, like just really obsessed with PBS. Like every cartoon he referenced was like Cyber Chase or Arthur or something.
Mm-hmm.
And he hated all the shows that I referenced, which was like stuff on Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon. Very religious kid.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, cool. Well, you love PBS. And so at the end of the class, I played PBS's Idea channel because they had a whole series on YouTube poop.
Oh, yeah.
And he just got really angry with me because like it's because they had the word poop. Like you keep saying poop. You can't talk about YouTube poops without saying poop.
That's why I especially loved the idea of, I wish I had gone to Dr. Rabbit. Had to keep saying the word poop in court.
Oh.
But one thing I do have to say about that Idea channel video, there's a lot that's flawed about Idea channel, like that Evangelion video. Like it says Anno said the show is meaningless. He never said that. Kazuya, not even Kazuya Tsurumaki, but one of the secondary staff people had said that there's no religious meaning in Evangelion, which is totally different from saying the show is meaningless. But anyway, in the YouTube poop thing, the guy, I don't remember his name, but the host was saying that in a way, YouTube poop will always be unsuccessful because it'll always read as footage from different things. But one, that's not even the goal. But two, I saw, he was showing this clip on the side, with the audio off, but it was, this thing, the King's Unreasonable Demand was the clip he was showing. And I could so hear the audio in my mind. But like, I think of this as a plot of the King's Unreasonable Demands, where Duke Onkled has to go have sex with Mario and Luigi before the king will give him mercy. You're like, well, maybe Duke Onkled will invite us over for a picnic if we fuck him. And that's what I think of when I see the footage. So he's absolutely wrong. It's coming off as something else. It's that video anyway that he was using as an example of it is a total success in my eyes.
Well, this has been such a very strange podcast, but very awesome one all the same.
Sorry I came in super late and just kind of interrupt in the middle. I didn't know you guys started.
Yeah, that's why I told you to stop yelling.
Well, you told me to stop yelling because you said my mic was.
Yeah.
And then Izzy griefed on Pan. It was hilarious. Yeah. So this is going to be released after MomoCon, but Izzy's going to be griefing Pan all weekend long. I think they're sharing a space. And Nesca's
we're going to take up one half of the hotel room.
Nesca's going to
what's going to happen?
Nesca's going to go over to Izzy's side.
Yeah, I was going to say, if it's anything like last time, what we're going to do is, because last year we had because you guys saw the video where we did that awkward, now let's show my final form or whatever, and we had the helmet. We'll just put Pan in the back out there. He can go camping outside, and me and Nesca will just push the beds together and make one giant nest.
Yeah. Sounds like a plan.
That's the plan.
All right.
Yeah, I think she's down for
But
it.
yeah, I think that's the end of the show, kids.
Yeah. Good. So who are you people? I'm Pan Pizza.
I'm Nolan, back at it again.
I'm Izzy. Oh shit!
I am
sorry.
Kermit the Frog.
Kermit the
No,
Frog.
Kermit's back. What the fuck?
Kermit
Oh no!
Frog here. Kermit the
Multiple
Frog.
Kermits.
It's all Kermit all the time.
Well, let's all do Kermit and Frog's impressions.
Kermit
Go.
the Frog.
Kermit the Frog
Kermit
here.
the
What's up, guys?
Frog. Oh,
Why are there so many Kermit the Frogs here?
The Office.
Who's the Muppet now?
The Muppet Show on NBC, The Office ripoff was pretty good, I have to say.
Incredible.
Was it really?
Yeah.
No, it
What
wasn't.
the fuck?
No, I never watched it. Yay!
It's on iTunes. You have to pay $24 to buy it on iTunes. I can't do Kermit.
Okay.
Waka waka.
I'm ending this
Whack off,
now.
whack off. Goodbye.
Goodbye, gamers.
Bye, every pony.
Hi, world.